everyone! Welcome to your weekly edition of Show Me How It's Done. My name is Lauren Urbonis and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad that you found us. And if you tune in every Tuesday at noon, thank you so much for joining me. Please do make sure to like or subscribe to the channel and you'll get to see all 200 of my past videos that I have been doing over the past years. Now, in Edmonton yesterday, I saw my first snowflake of the year, so I think that means it's time to start holiday crafting. I ran an event at the beginning of October with a couple other demonstrators here in Edmonton, Kelly Entz and Lindsay Mann, and I was so excited to play with the Hang and Ornament bundle with them. So I decided I wanted to showcase the project that was my make and take, and I will show you at the end the projects that they designed using this suite as well. I'm not going to show you how to do them, but this is a really fun way for you to get involved if you're a demonstrator or if you're in Edmonton. We host a yearly event of some sort centered around a bundle, and you can come out and play with us all day with it. So the Hang and Ornament Bundle is probably a hidden gem in our holiday catalog. It's something that a lot of people look at and they're maybe a little bit either intimidated by because it has an odd die for the ornament here, or they're just not wowed by it. So I'm hoping to change your mind today and next week, because I'm going to be playing with this bundle for the next 2 weeks. Now, what I love about this bundle, it can be found on page 44, and it is a really affordable bundle. So you get a stamp set and a die set for $41.25 Canadian. And again, just remember I'm in Canada, so if you're somewhere else, just check your catalog or contact your demonstrator. Your prices will vary a little bit, but compared to the other bundles in the catalog, this is one of the really, really affordable bundles where you can play both with a stamp set and a set of dies for under $50 once you pay shipping and tax. So Stampin' Up has given you a few ideas of what you can do in the catalog there, and hopefully after today, you will have a few more. Now, this bundle is not part of any specific suite, so there's no embellishments that coordinate with it directly. There's no paper, but I decided I was going to add in my two probably favorite items from this catalog throughout the project, and you'll see those in action. But I'm going to just highlight here the paper for you, if I can find it, where I stole it from. If you flip to the Season of Elegance suite, and primarily page 25, you'll see a gorgeous array of products, of course, but this paper down here. Now, what I love about this paper is there is a gold foil and kind of watercolor look to one side, and then there's a really matte look on the other, so it gives you a lot of potential for your projects. You can even use the same piece of paper and just flip it over onto the other side for half of the project to create a totally different look. So this is the specialty paper that I'm highlighting and that I'm just really, really enjoying right now. I feel like I can get a billion ornaments out of that one package, and I'm going to show you how to make this card. Let's go. Okay, I need to get myself reorganized. Okay, so if you guys watch my my videos weekly, you may remember this card here from August. This is a puzzle slider card, and I made this one for my birthday week because I love Pretty Peacock, and I wanted to play with a fun popping out card. So I'm using the exact same measurements from this Magnolia card and turning it into a Christmas version. So please, always when you see one of these videos, if you're like, I don't actually have that bundle, or I don't have that paper, or I don't even need a card for that occasion, maybe your wheels can turn instead towards what paper can I use? What image do I want to focus on? And you can use the measurements that I'm giving you to recreate something of your own. Now I will just mention I've listed all the measurements for the project in the description on the video, so the easiest thing might be to just click that pause button right now, go and cut all of those pieces, and then come back and join me again when you're ready, because then you can just assemble this very quickly with me. But of course, I will give them to you as we go as well. So we're going to start with a card base, and I'm sorry you're getting blinded, but that is the beauty of gold foil. It kind of blinds you, and I do have gold embossing on my ornament too, so the camera's picking up on all of that lovely glitter. We're going to start with Cherry Cobbler. So this piece of paper you need to cut at 4 1/4 by 9 1/2. And then we're going to do a little bit of scoring. So whether you have a scoring tool or the Stampin' Trimmer that you can score on, you're going to need to do 4 marks. They're all along the long side here, that 9 1/2 inch. So we're going to start at 1 inch, 2 inch, 7 1/2, 8 1/2. I'll give that to you just once more. 1 inch, 2 inch, 7 1/2, 8 1/2. It is identical, so if perhaps you are unsure, just take a look at your panels, make sure they're even, okay? On the inside of our card, which is right here, of course, we want something to write on. So I've cut myself a piece of very vanilla, and this is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to mount that to the inside of the card right now. At some other point, I could easily come back and stamp on this, either a sentiment or one of those adorable ornaments. But I'm just going to leave it blank for the moment. Gives me lots of writing potential. And in this large section, you should have just a tiny cherry cobbler border all the way around. Ooh, there we go. Okay. There we go. Next, we will want a bone folder because we need to make a few very crisp lines to make our folds for this card. So the 2 score lines that are closest to your middle panel, you're going to fold both of those inwards. Okay, we're basically just closing up your card right now. Okay, so we folded that inwards, giving it a nice burnish. And then these other 2 panels, we're going to fold backwards on themselves. So what you should end up having is something that kind of popped up, looks like those old origami frog legs, you know, the base of a frog. Just like this. I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive onto my panels, and then we're going to move this to the side just so I can help you get all the other pieces straightened out. Okay, so I'm using double-sided tape because I find it something very, very easy for me to showcase on the camera. You're able to see it, but I also just prefer using it myself. You can use seal or glue as well. The glue you won't want to add at the moment, okay? So we're moving that out of our viewpoint because I want to show you how to make these panels. So we need to do some cutting. We are going to need 2 large cherry cobbler bases. These are going to be 2 1/8 by 3 1/4. 2 of them identical. Then we're going to need 2 smaller layers, and these are going to be 2 1/8 by 2 1/4. And I like to lay them all out on my table because I want to make sure that they make a perfect rectangle. If I accidentally turned one of these small pieces, you can see slightly it's a little shorter and a little longer. The measurements are very subtle on these small pieces, which is why we lay them out, just to make sure They're all perfect. This should create one large square when it's on your desk. So let me just go over those measurements once more for you. Again, they're listed though. 2 1/8 by 3 1/4, 2 1/8 by 2 1/4. Then we get to bring in our beautiful shiny glimmery paper. Of course, I could have chose any of the beautiful colors and kind of switched out my color background, but I wanted something that was very subtle and made the ornament kind of the feature of the card here. So I could recreate this easily and just switch up the color designs too. But I need 2 large panels here. These guys are going to be 1 7/8 by 2. Oh, sorry. 1 7/8 by 3. There we go. 1 7/8 by 3. 1 7/8 by 3. And then these ones are 1 7/8 by 2. So if you accidentally chopped when I said 2, it's okay. You need these ones as well. 1 7/8 by 3. 1 7/8 by 2. Now, you have a choice. You can either sit here and just glue these down onto their red base, or you can be adventuresome and pop them up on some dimensionals, which I personally just think adds a lot of life to this card. This is a card that's meant to pop out at you. It's meant to be 3D. So I think it's really important to add a little bit extra dimension, but not, of course, too much. So I'm popping these guys up on dimensionals, and I'm going to keep them just in their little formation so that I can make sure I'm not flipping anything the wrong way, and everything will go on my card perfectly. Okay, dimensionals. Takes a little longer, but that wow factor is definitely there. Would also like to mention today I'm rocking some beautiful jewelry. This was made by my 7-year-old. I went to wake him up this morning for school, and he was wide awake making jewelry, and he had like 5 bracelets in front of him, so I have no idea what time he woke up. But he was in a great mood, so that's okay. Our rule is you can basically wake up whenever you feel like it, but you have to stay in your room and be quiet so everybody else can still sleep. And usually on a weekend he's awake before the rest of us, but he was awake on a school morning, I guess, excited and creating, so he was very happy. He said this was his Christmas version, and I got the first bracelet. It was very kind of him. All right, there's all my pieces. I've made sure not to move them. They still make that nice little rectangle, which means I'm ready to start assembling. So I'm going to bring back my base, and we're going to just do these one side at a time. So I've got, doesn't matter which side, got my left-hand side that I'm going to start with, and I'm going to line up the corner, this top left-hand corner of my piece, with the top of this panel. So basically you're just lining up corner to corner, that little section. If you want, you can even just lay it down on the card. Make sure it's straight across the top. But the only part that will actually have adhesive is the part that's attached to this strip. And this little guy comes next. Easy peasy. Ready to do the other side. Doesn't matter which way you start. Just making sure you're lining up those edges. And oh, so there's the base of your card. Pops open like that slider as promised. Next, we need to make our decal. So this is probably the only piece here and the embossing folder that's not actually in the die set. There's of course paper and embellishments that we're using, but I've grabbed this little stitched circle from the Spotlight on Nature dies. I had it in my brain, then it ran away. And then I embossed it with our great Snowflake's 3D embossing folder. This one is just timeless for winter. I hope we never get rid of it because it's so easy, the Snowflake Sky 3D embossing folder. So I've embossed that. It's ready to go. This die, it's hard because usually I try to tell you it's like the third largest or it's the second largest, but let me just show you here. These are the dies that are included in the set here. So if you look in this set here, it would be this third largest one. But the dies, they go in two different sets, so I can't tell you it's the smallest or it's the largest, but if you can picture your die set in front of you, it's this one right here. But play around too, see what works for your project. You can also use the Stylish Shapes dies, which is one of my favorites as well. Next, I have cut out one of these nice little ornaments. When you cut out the ornament on a piece of paper, I do want to mention you're going to notice it actually doesn't come out of the paper. There's these little ticks that stay connected. Oops, that stay connected on the die. Maybe I'm just gonna, I'm gonna run this through because I want to actually show you guys what that looks like. If you've never seen this die, you won't know what I'm talking about. So usually when I punch out something, it would instantly come out of the paper. This stays connected, and the intent is for you to be able to make a fun little pull-out card so that somebody can actually pop this out themselves. I'm going to show you Kelly's card right now because that was what she used. So this was Kelly's card. This is Kelly Entz here in Edmonton, Alberta. So this is her card. I'm just going to show you the inside first. And then she cut out this ornament here and she kind of clipped one side and two sides. And I've unfortunately taken this apart already now, but when it opened, it was connected still here. And then she made this adorable little shaker on the inside. Now I'm going to make a version of this in December for you guys so you can see how it works. But of course this was her card and we'll give her all the credit for that beautiful creation. So you can also make either a pull-out little window, a shaker card in behind, something like that. It will be really fun for you to play with. So I just had to poke that out, is basically what I'm saying. All right, I cut that out using the gold shiny side, but of course you can use the matte side as well. It doesn't really matter because we're going to be embossing gold over top of it anyways. And then while you're cutting, you might as well do a few other things. So I've cut the little ornament topper out of gold foil, a hook out of silver foil, one of the little belly bands out of Very Vanilla, and two leaves that were out of the green specialty paper because they have beautiful texture on them and it's great. Now, before we can assemble this, we need to do the embossing, of course, because that's what we're all here for. So your stamp set has two choices. You can either choose this stamp with all the boughs, or this one has kind of more leaves and stuff. I kind of feel like this one fits my Christmas theme a little bit more, but I do love the subtlety of this one too. I feel like it could be a very nice all occasions celebration. Doesn't specifically have to be Christmas. Okay, now a trick for you guys, because I pre-cut this out. I was making kits for everybody, of course, so I needed to have this ornament die cut. But sometimes it's really tricky for you now to like look through the top and try to line everything up perfectly. A little trick for you is to leave this on the table now. Put your Versamark ink on top. And then you can just simply rest your shape over top of the silhouette. And I decided to stamp on the non-glitter side just because of this big clump. I thought it would maybe take away from my stamped image. And then you just press down on your finger. You won't really be able to see the Versamark at the moment. I'm going to bring in my gold embossing powder. Should have grabbed my tweezers. I don't know where they are. Oh well, I'll just bury that in gold. And we'll use my take your pick tool instead. Okay, now you don't need to worry at all about the top part being lined up perfectly because we're covering that. We're putting this gold over top. What you do want to make sure is that you kind of have the ornament body onto your paper. If you've made a mistake, just turn it over, emboss on the other side. Okay, I'm going to heat emboss this, and you won't really be able to hear me when I'm doing that, but what you're going to see is there's going to be a change from this very boring, kind of sandy, dull look to something that's really bright and shiny as you heat. So as soon as you see the color change, you can move on, but until you see that color change, you want to keep heating. Don't know if my tool will reach. We'll see. Just going to stop there for a second. Do you see how half of this now is all nice and shiny? The other half is very boring and dull. So I have to keep going, but that's the change you're looking for. Oh, I missed one little leaf. Hold on. Much better. Okay, I'm going to start building my little decal now. So, on the back of my ornament, I'm going to pop up some dimensionals. And I've centered my ornament pretty much center onto my circle. Then I'm going to bring in some of my liquid glue, either your fine tip glue pen or your Tombow liquid glue. And we're going to add a couple things here. So first, I'm going to actually just hide this hook in the mix here. Make sure he's stuck on. And then I'm going to put the gold over top. Woo. There we go. Technically, I can pull him out a little bit more. There we go. But once that glue sets, that will be nicely attached. Shouldn't go anywhere. And then I have these two leaves. Now, the way that I found was easiest to attach my leaves is just to put a mini dimensional onto the back. And we're going to just attach them, if you can see, to the edge of the circle here. Now, the mini dimensionals, you're going to want to do 2 layers, because if you do just one, then it's only going to be the same height as your ornament. So if you stack 1 mini dimensional and 2 mini dimensionals, it will actually pop up above where your ornament is sitting. There's one. Make sure to take the backing off of the first one before adding the second one, otherwise they won't stick very well. 2. Okay, now these little gems, I wish I could just buy in packages with these trios of full sheets. They are brilliant because we spend so much time trying to make little hollyberry clusters with individual little gems. Stampin' Up has added in the catalog this cluster of clear and cherry cobbler little berries. So they're called cherry cobbler and pearl adhesive back berries, and they are amazing. So you can use either the cherry cobbler ones or the pearl ones. Either one looks great, but when you pull it off the sheet, all 3 of the berries come off at once. You don't have to fiddle and make your own little trio. So I'm in love with that idea. I really, really intend to stock up on these. In fact, I have about 10 packages right now. Now this, I feel like it's adorable as it is, but I wanted a sentiment. So this little band here, I'm going to stamp with cherry cobbler. The sentiment, all is merry, and that was from the Hang and Ornament. And we'll pop that up on dimensionals as well, just so that it comes away from the ornament with a nice amount of attention. Mini dimensionals will fit perfectly in these little back spaces. And we'll just pop that up right in the middle. It should fit just inside the ornament. There we go. There's your tag. Now, how to attach it to the card. Typically, when we put a decal on a card, we just cover the back in dimensionals and pop it up, but we want our card to be able to open. So what you have to do is you can only put dimensionals on one side of the project. Doesn't matter which side, but you can only put them on one side of the project for your decal to attach to. Now, I love using either some large dimensionals or some of these big chunks from the sides of my mini dimensionals. I'm going to put one down in the corner of my top right, and 2 in this bottom section here. Okay, so I've put the dimensionals on my designer series paper. I haven't taken the back off yet, but you can see my decal will completely cover them. Nobody's going to know they're there, but then I've made sure that the adhesive is exactly where I want it to be, and it's not risking the card closing up. So here's the fun part. You kind of have to hold the card closed with your finger for a minute and try to center your decal onto the card front, keeping in mind you're only pressing down on the side that you've added the dimensionals. So when you open it, it does open as a nice surprise. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was a super fun make and take to do, and I really, really hope everybody enjoyed it. So as promised, I'm going to just show you, I showed you Kelly's project already with this bundle. This was Lindsay's. She used these little book boxes from the Reindeer Days suite. Oh, very shiny, so much shine. And did some stamping and blending brushes on the box to color it. And then inside the box, she did a little pull-out that you could attach photos. So it's kind of a little photo box. I haven't added pictures to mine yet, but you're supposed to be able to add photos, and then you could even add a little gift card there. So there you go. That's an idea for you. And then we did some fun other things. We had lots of little gifts for everyone. We did prize patrols and all attendee giveaways. So these were just a few tags that I made. They're very simple, but they look beautiful. So you could easily replicate those and add them to a Christmas gift on your own. Again, using our specialty paper and the Hang and Ornament Bundle. And then this is going to be our video next week. These were the bags that everyone received their items in, and again, it's very 3D, kind of popping out at you, but there's the bag. I'm going to flatten it. I'm going to teach you how to make this little tag. So I made it into a tag for them, but you can easily make it into an ornament for your tree as well. So tune in next week, because I will show you how to make this guy, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Talk to you guys very soon. Bye.